Audio sync in 3, 2, 1, and... Hey guys, KiraKennedy here with my predictions for this weekend's big WWE events, NXT Takeover Philadelphia and the 2018 Royal Rumble. Both, as I mentioned, are taking place this weekend live from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on the WWE Network. NXT Takeover Philadelphia will be happening this Saturday, January the 27th, while the Royal Rumble will be taking place the following night, Sunday, January 28th. I'm gonna be doing both in one video because, quite frankly, it seems pointless to do them as separate videos since I'm probably gonna be watching both anyways. But with all that out of the way, let's start off with the most upcoming event. I guess I'm not good with words right now. With NXT Takeover Philadelphia. Currently, there are 5 matches confirmed for the card, with the latest match actually being confirmed last night, January the 24th, at the time of this recording, during a conference call with Triple H. So we're going to start with that and kind of work our way up. So the first match is Kassius Ohno taking on the Velveteen Dream in a special singles match. They kind of filmed a promo and showed it during NXT as well that kind of set it up. Basically, after Velveteen Dream lost the opportunity at an opportunity at the NXT Championship, put up by #1 contender Johnny Gargano, he was confronted by Kassius Ohno after the match, and that, I guess, was all they needed to set up this match. Quick and simple here. I think Dream's going over because it feels like Ohno kind of came in as the veteran who puts over the younger talent and stuff. I don't know. I think eventually they are going to have him win big matches, unless they want to just kind of bring him in as a jobber and then work as a trainer for the Performance Center. And I think Dream's got more of an upside to him at this point. I mean, his match with Aleister Black at TakeOver War Games was phenomenal, and I want to see him go far, to be honest. So that's that. Velveteen Dream goes over. I think it'll be a decent match because Ohno can work a decent match. I keep referring to him by the name he wrestled under in the Indies, Chris Hero, for whatever reason. I guess it rolls off the tongue better than Kassius Ohno. And I don't know, he might be on his way up soon. Velveteen Dream might be on his way up soon. I don't know. Maybe after Mania. But let's move on. Up next, we have the first of 3 title matches occurring at the show. It says all the titles are on the line, but the UK Championship is surprisingly absent. Anyways, you have the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Undisputed Era, taking on, that's the most unnecessarily complicated hand gesture, being represented by Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, taking on the team of the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razar, who are, of course, accompanied to the ring by Paul Ellering. I don't want the Authors of Pain to lose here, and this one's a little harder to call, because I want the Undisputed Era to retain, if only to have them defend their title somewhere down the line against TM61, just because NXT has been doing something similar to what they did with Roderick Strong, where they're showing these vignettes kind of hyping up the return of the tag team, Shane Thorne and Nick Miller. Ever since Shane came back from a really, really bad leg injury, I think it was like a shin or something. I'm gonna go with, my gut says the Authors of Pain win here and become 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions just because of the bigger team. But just out of sheer toughness and some, shall we say, underhanded tactics, I think the Undisputed Era is going to retain here. And again, somewhere down the line, they're going to probably drop the titles to TM61. That's just a guess. From there, we immediately move into the second of the three title matches. For the NXT Women's Championship, you have the current champion, Ember Moon, defending her title against Mae Young Classic runner-up Shayna Baszler. And I think this one is, as much as I love Ember and as much as I hate to say this, even though I really do like the work Shayna Baszler has been doing, the way they've been kind of building her up since she debuted, I think Baszler is going over here, and I think she's going to become the new NXT Women's Champion. Mainly because, again, she just debuted, and NXT does like to keep it consistent in terms of making new talent look strong for as long as they can. Nakamura was undefeated for 6 months. So from TakeOver Dallas to TakeOver Toronto, Nakamura was undefeated. Balor, I think, had only been pinned 4 times the entire time he was in NXT. Rude, again, very consistent, very strongly booked contender when he went through there. So I think just based on that alone, and based on the fact that Shayna Baszler is by far the most legitimately badass person in NXT right now, like, she could probably give Aleister Black a run for his money. I think Baszler becomes the new NXT Women's Champion here, and she basically goes on for like a stupidly long title reign. I don't think like Asuka's stupidly long, but still pretty stupid long. From there, we move on to the one of the only 2 non-title matches happening on the card, though it did stem from incidents occurring during a number 1 contenders match. You have Aleister Black taking on Adam Cole, baby, in an Extreme Rules match. I'll admit I haven't been watching a whole lot of NXT, so I don't know the whole intensity of the feud, but just based on the hype package on the Go Home show, this feud is definitely interesting, because Adam Cole, he can verbally sell a promo like few others. Like, in terms of mic skills in NXT alone, Adam Cole is, I think there are very few people that can actually touch Adam Cole when it comes to promos. And Aleister Black, he's put on some good matches since debuting at TakeOver Orlando last year. And this is probably the hardest match to call, like even harder than Authors of Pain versus Fish and O'Reilly, just because I don't want either side to lose. But the Extreme Rules thing means that, shenanigans can occur. And it's because of that, and because of the fact that, Adam Cole is also a member of the Undisputed Era. Again, so unnecessarily complex. I don't even know if I'm doing it the right way. Even though because Adam Cole is also the member of the Undisputed Era, and he has Fish and O'Reilly basically on speed dial, even though they're going to be in the same building, so forget the metaphor, forget speed dial. Even though he's basically got like Fish and O'Reilly in his back pocket, his metaphorical back pocket, I think Adam Cole is going to come out on top here, just because, number one, well, actually, I can't even say the undefeated streak has to end, because the whole thing, this whole feud started when Adam Cole screwed I was about to call him by his indie name, screwed Aleister Black in a Fatal 4-Way number 1 contenders match by taking him out so Johnny Gargano could get the pin on him. So I think Aleister Black can get away with losing a match like this. Adam Cole has already lost a match too, so I don't think either one is going to have the momentum to hurt. Though I have a sinking suspicion that Aleister Black is probably not long for NXT. He's probably on his way up. If not the night after the Rumble, definitely the night after Mania. Maybe even the night after SummerSlam, if you really want to stretch it out and maybe give him an NXT title run. Though I don't think that's the case. I honestly think Aleister Black might be on his way up, which lends credence to, which I think my prediction of Adam Cole winning definitely lends credence to that, because when it comes to NXT, they always lose their last match before being called up anyways. You saw it with Bobby Roode, you saw it with Ty Dillinger, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah, so I don't know if Adam Cole will maybe be set up for the next championship contender, or if some other things are going to go down, which I will talk about now. Because we are coming into the final of the 3 title matches. You have NXT champion Andrade Cien Almas. You have to say it with the accent. It makes it sound that much cooler. Andrade Cien Almas taking on the number 1 contender that I mentioned several times in this video already, Johnny Gargano, for the NXT Championship. This whole thing has kind of been built up around this idea that Johnny hasn't been able to win the big one basically since Tommaso Ciampa turned on him at the end of Takeover Chicago. And it feels like this is some... there were moments where it kind of felt like, oh, come on, like Daniel Bryan levels of, oh, they're just trying to bury him as far as they go because they want people to build sympathy for him. It very rarely works. Let me stress that right now. It didn't work with Sami Zayn. It's not working with Bayley. It didn't work with Finn. It didn't work with Ziggler. Basically, nobody takes Ziggler seriously anymore. And a lot of us we were all worried that it wasn't going to work for Johnny, because you have to do it organically. You cannot force somebody to be over just by having them lose every single match. Contrary to what Road Dogg will tell you, wins and losses do in fact matter to an extent. In the terms of perception, you know, like if I see a guy constantly losing clean and stuff, you know, why am I going to take him seriously? I get it, wrestling is fake. It's scripted, it's predetermined, you know this stuff is going, you know, they know this stuff well in advance. But in terms of storytelling, there's a right way to book an underdog and a wrong way to book an underdog. And what they've been doing with Johnny is surprisingly the right way, actually. You know, they had him losing a lot of big matches due to, like, choking or being reminded of his betrayal by Ciampa. And I think this can only end one way. I think Gargano wins the title here. And then, close to TakeOver New Orleans, you're going to have Ciampa come back. And Ciampa is going to make a challenge to Gargano. And whether Gargano drops the title to his former tag team partner, Tommaso Ciampa, whatever, or he retains, I think Ciampa and Gargano are going to face off at TakeOver New Orleans. And I think it's going to be for the title. As much as I'd like to see Adam Cole eventually pick up the title, I think he wins it here. And whether Ciampa comes back, though, he'd have to be part of Cena, whatever branch of the Weapon X program John Cena's part of, because he's been out since TakeOver Chicago, I think, with it's either a knee injury or an ankle injury. It's basically been out since the week after TakeOver Chicago. And they basically put his return right around March, which just the tail end of WrestleMania season. Hell, maybe even to go further, maybe Johnny faces Adam Cole at... this is me going into fantasy booking here. I very rarely do this because I'm not good at it, but maybe Adam Cole is named number 1 contender to the NXT Championship, and he faces Johnny at TakeOver New Orleans. And maybe just at the last, like just right at the end of the match, Ciampa comes out, distracts Johnny long enough for Adam to hit his finisher, and become the new NXT champion, leading to a feud between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, the former members of #DIY, for possibly TakeOver Takeover Brooklyn 4, I think? Is SummerSlam happening in Brooklyn again this year? I have to look this up now. So, NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4. And there's another takeover in Chicago as well. So maybe you set this up for Takeover Chicago 2. Takeover Chicago 2, let's call it. Because apparently, according to Wikipedia, there's going to be another NXT Takeover in Chicago. Anyways. Long and short of it, Gargano wins here. He eventually goes on to feud with Ciampa. Maybe Ciampa screws him out of the title in New Orleans. Or maybe Ciampa blindsides him and challenges him for New Orleans. I don't know. But all I know here is they're building towards a feel-good ending here. And NXT, they do the feel-good ending every now and then. They did it with Sami Zayn a couple of years ago. In fact, Sami's rise to the NXT Championship is eerily similar to Johnny's. Now that I literally just realized this. He's got a best friend who's ready to, well, in this case, has already stabbed him in the back. He was losing every opportunity he had. Suddenly he became #1 contender. I actually, just that alone, that light bulb moment right there makes me just all but cements that I think Johnny's winning here. So, from that feel-good moment, let's move on to the more cynical side of Kira's Wrasslin vlogs, and let's talk about the 2018 Royal Rumble. Now, I'm not going to make the same mistake I made last year and try to predict every single surprise entrant. But let's, as of right now, there are 6 matches confirmed for the show. There were originally 7, but due to Enzo Amore being fired due to not telling WWE he was being investigated for sexual assault allegations, I'm not going to talk about that much, though honestly I think WWE was in the right here. Even if Enzo didn't do it, he should have brought it up to management, because apparently he knew that he was that he was under investigation for this stuff. And honestly, with all the stories about Enzo's toxic behavior backstage, I think it was only a matter of time before he got released. Sorry, I got some laundry going, and I set a timer on my phone, so I was just checking to see if that was done. Anyways, as I was saying before that little tangent about the whole Eric Arndt thing, the whole Enzo Amore thing, I should say. I feel really weird using his real name, but yeah. Back on track. There are currently 6 matches confirmed for the show, though there is a possibility that anytime between now, Thursday the 25th of January, and this Sunday, they could announce 1 or 2 more pre-show matches. Whether that be some kind of cruiserweight clusterfuts, or I don't know, maybe a tag team match or something. Or, I don't know, maybe some women's championship matches, because there's actually no women's championship match confirmed for this show. Minus, I'll get into it in a second, actually. In a minute, actually. But let's go from bottom to top in terms of, I guess, I don't want to call it importance, but let's just talk about this. First up, we have a 2 out of 3 falls match for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships. You have the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, defending their titles against American Beta, or Benjables, or Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, whatever you want to call them. And I think this one's kind of a no-brainer, just because of the fact that Jay Uso was recently arrested for a DUI, so I think he might be taking some time off, whether it be of his own volition or not, I don't know. But I think Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable win in a very close kind of match, or a very close kind of decision. Maybe it comes down to like the 11th hour, like the third fall. Well, it's obviously going to come down to the third fall. 2 out of 3 falls match always do that. But I think Benjamin and Gable will come out on top here and become the new SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships for really realsies this time. I say this because the whole catalyst for them getting a 2 out of 3 falls match was apparently having a decision reversed due to some shenanigans. I don't know. I didn't watch that episode of SmackDown. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, from one tag team title match, we go to the second and the only 2 of 4. The second of only 4 title matches on the card as well. They're originally going to be 5, but again, Cruiserweight Championship, kind of awkward. Don't really want to talk about it any more than I already did. Anyways, it is Raw Tag Team Champions Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan taking on the team of The Bar, or Sheamus and Cesaro again, whatever you want to call them. This one, again, kind of a no-brainer just because of some subtle, not-so-subtle hints being dropped by Jason Jordan. I think a heel turn is definitely incoming for him, mainly because he's got the same kind of dorky, cocky attitude that Angle had, his father had when he first debuted in the WWE back in 1999, or back in the late 90s. I can't remember the exact year Angle debuted. I was 7 years old at that point. You know, I was less than 10 years old during the Attitude Era. Anyways, I think Sheamus and Cesaro will become, what was it, 3-time tag team champions at this point? 3 times, unless they're taking the Charlotte Flair route here. I don't like it when tag teams trade titles. I don't like it when champions trade titles like this. But I think it's necessary to tell the Jason Jordan story. Yeah. So I think so far 2 new champions. I don't think every title is going to change hands, but I do think we're going to get a lot of title changes this weekend. So let's move on to the third of 4 championship matches, and the first of 2 world championship matches. You have the phenomenal AJ Styles defending his WWE Championship against the team, yes, the team, of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a 2-on-1 handicap match. My guess is whoever gets the pinfall for Sami and Kevin's team becomes WWE champion. I'm kind of hard-pressed on this one because I don't want anyone to lose here, you know? I would love to see Kevin become WWE champion and kind of redeem himself for his admittedly lackluster Universal Championship reign. I would love to see Sami win the WWE Championship because I am kind of a huge Sami Zayn mark. But I also want to see AJ have a decent length run because I would like to see him face Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. I think they could have a phenomenal match without WWE's restrictions. I think they could have a great match at WrestleMania with WWE's restrictions. It might not be as good as, say, their clash at Wrestle Kingdom 10, but I think they could have a really good match. So yeah, AJ Styles retains here, and I think there's plans being set for Nakamura versus AJ Styles, even though Nakamura has been booked terribly basically since SummerSlam. Let's move on for that, I think, because I think there's still time that they can actually make Nakamura look like a credible contender for the WWE Championship. If they can force Jinder into the title picture within a day, I think they can take 3 months to build Nakamura as a credible championship contender. Anyways, with that ramble / slight rant over, let's move on to the final of the 4 title matches and the final of the 2 World Championship matches. You have the Beast, the Conqueror, Brock Lesnar. That was Vince McMahon, not Paul Heyman. I'm terrible at impressions. Defending his championship against Braun Strowman and possibly future Tennessee mayor of whatever city in Tennessee, Kane. Let's call a spade here. Kane is there to eat the pinfall. And if things are going the way I think they're going, as much as I would love to see Braun win the title, because I think he's almost there. I think he's almost ready to be champion. I think he's almost at that level, especially, given, the past few weeks of him basically killing people on Raw. What is it with Braun Strowman? Which brings me to a kind of tangent here. What is it with Braun Strowman and angles involving attempted murder? Seriously, you had Roman trying to hit him locking him in an ambulance and trying to kill him with a truck. You had Kane throwing him in a dumpster or in a garbage truck and basically crushing him to death, only for him to come back completely fine, though traveling between garbage. It was a weird story. And then dropping a TV screen, I think, on Kane and Lesnar. But I think it's going to go the way a lot of Lesnar's title defenses have gone. Lesnar takes a beating, hits one F5, then retains because we got to protect the F5 so Roman can eventually kick out of it. Yeah, spoilers. Spoilers on that one. I think Lesnar is going over here because WWE has had this plan since last year. It's been pretty clear that they want Lesnar facing Roman at WrestleMania in New Orleans to kind of try again to crown Roman as, the guy. I'm not as against Roman being the top guy, as a lot of people, but there's a way to do it and you can't force it. If WWE wants to get this done, also, let me say this first. The fact that this is the 4th year in a row that they put Roman in the main event of WrestleMania just to try and crown him as the guy. 4th time better be the charm, but you can't just hope that the fans will accept it. You have to work to make it organic. And that's a pipe dream. I'm going to say that right now because there are fans that are not going to accept Roman. I think I can't say I think his Intercontinental title reign was a good thing because I honestly wasn't watching Raw. But I think the WWE, much like with Shinsuke Nakamura, the WWE has 3 months to do this right. And it's all going to start at the Rumble. And I don't want to get my hopes up that they can do a good job with Roman, because for whatever reason, they always drop the ball. But they keep going to that well. A couple of years ago when the Rumble was in Philadelphia before, you basically poisoned the crowd by having Daniel Bryan announce he was going to be in the Rumble. They shouldn't have done that. They should have had him return the night after the Rumble. They shouldn't have had him announce his return or anything. He should have just returned the night after the Rumble and built up a storyline from there. The year after, you had Roman take a friggin' 20-minute nap. A friggin' half-hour nap during the Rumble that was built around him. Back when I used to do my podcast, Mark My Words, we dedicated a whole episode to this just one stupid moment that WWE did there. I'm going to link to that episode of the podcast. I will link to the time code of that, where my buddy Mike talks about this, because that was frustratingly stupid. And then last year, you have Roman enter at number 30, despite the fact that he had a World Championship match earlier in the night. Granted, not as dumb as Roman taking a half-hour nap in the middle of the Rumble. Basically being too injured to continue, only to come back half an hour later and blindside Sheamus. Having him come out at number 30, the crowd turned on the Rumble like that. And it was obvious that, then you have him do the fake out with Orton, which, focus. Then to have them do the fake out with Orton, that Rumble was good right up until number 30. Um, anyways, speaking of the Rumble, yeah, Lesnar retains because Lesnar, and because, you know, they want to try to crown Roman as the guy for the 4th time. I'm not going to rant into this because it's going to make me come off as a bit of a smark. I'm just going to say this again. It can work. You have 3 months to not screw this up. Don't screw it up. Convince me, WWE. Convince me that Roman is the guy. That is my challenge. And with that gauntlet dropped, let's move on to the first of 2 Royal Rumbles. Because, I don't want to use the word historic because WWE has a really nasty habit of throwing that word around, especially when it comes to the women's division, because we have the first ever all-women's Royal Rumble match, where the winner, basically, let me start with the rules. You're going to have 30 women in the match. Every 90 seconds, I think it is, every 90 seconds to 2 minutes, you're going to have a new woman enter the match. You can only be eliminated by being thrown over the top rope and having both feet touch the floor. And the last woman standing in this case will earn an opportunity at the women's championship of her choice at WrestleMania. Currently, there are 18 women confirmed for the match. It was originally going to be 19, but unfortunately, Paige had to drop out due to a likely career-ending neck injury. There are currently 18 women, with 9 from Raw, 9 from Raw, 9 from SmackDown, with, Jesus Christ, 12 spaces available for surprise entrants and debuts. Or surprise returns, entrants, and debuts. We could have had more, but unfortunately 2 women also got released earlier this year. Yeah, I would have loved to have actually seen Summer Rae and Emma in this match, as much as I didn't like Summer Rae. As indifferent as I was to Summer Rae. It would have been, you know, slightly balancing out. You know, you wouldn't have had to rely on so many surprise returns. Although there is one name that has been thrown around that is likely to show up here, despite the fact that there's been a story that she's busy with a movie that weekend, or filming a movie that weekend, and she can't get out of it. That name is Ronda Rousey. Now, if it turns out that the whole shooting a movie thing was a red herring, and she does show up, she's obviously my pick, but I'm going through this basically under the assumption that whoever wins this match is not, Ronda Rousey is currently not a part of this match. If she is, call it a... Actually, I don't even want to call it a surprise pick, because there was a revelation that was made yesterday as well, the 24th of January, as I keep mentioning, as of this recording. Stephanie McMahon will be sitting ringside as a part of the commentary team for this match. Because it's not like we have female announcers in WWE. Pfft, who needs Renee Young? Who needs Charlie Caruso? Pfft. Lita who? Actually, I think Lita might be one of the surprise entrants in the Rumble, but, yeah. I think, I'm not going to try to predict the surprise entrants here. I think there are going to be some cool surprise entrants, like, Trish Stratus, Lita. Apparently Trish Stratus has been getting in ring shape for this match. Maybe Molly Holly will show up. Maybe Karma. I don't know. Possibly Beth Phoenix. But I think this one's actually kind of hard to call, because the most obvious choice, besides Ronda Rousey, is so obvious, I think the WWE might not actually go for it. Because my pick, believe it or not, shock of all shocks, is Asuka. I think Asuka's going to win here and defend the title and go on to win the title, or go on to face Alexa Bliss for the title. Well, I think she's going to win it at WrestleMania. I mean, a less obvious pick would be, I don't know, maybe Bayley or Sasha Banks, but just because I am so unoriginal and I'm just honestly going with the obvious pick here, Asuka. I think Asuka wins the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match. I think I'm also going to need some help getting through this match because Stephanie McMahon on commentary is going to be so grating. Oh god, there's going to be a lot of screeching in this match. For those of you who can't tell, I am not a fan of the Stephanie McMahon character. The fact that she's basically untouchable. The fact that, outside of, like, the one time at last year's WrestleMania, and the one time before that, where she basically got taken out by accident in matches involving her husband. I'm not looking forward to that, and I think it's going to lessen the blow of this match. But, yeah, I think Asuka wins here and goes on to face Alexa Bliss, even though I don't really think she needs it. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. I don't care, but Asuka wins here. Yeah, so let's move on to the final match of the night. The match everybody know. The second of the two Royal Rumble matches, the men's Royal Rumble match, which actually doesn't have as many confirmed names as the women's Royal Rumble match, believe it or not. We have the men's Royal Rumble match, which only has 17 names confirmed. 8 from Raw, 8 from SmackDown, and John Cena, who is a free agent. Samoa Joe was originally supposed to be part of the Rumble too, but he had to pull out again due to injury, which sucks because Joe just came back from an injury. I think that's going to do some serious damage to his credibility in Vince's eyes, and that makes me sad because Joe busted his ass to earn Vince's respect with his feud against Lesnar. I think that feud made Joe, and now he's hurt, and he just come back from being hurt. So I think somebody's whispering in Vince's ear, maybe a certain Bucky Beaver I'm gonna bleep that out, just because I hate Kevin Dunn. I really do. He's just such an idiot. Like, there's nothing that pisses me off more than stupid, and if I go on this tangent, this video is gonna be like 4 hours long. So let's move into this. I do think, again, there are going to be some surprise entrants. I'm not going to name them all, but just to name a few. I think Pete Dunne is going to be showing up in this Rumble for sure, because he got pulled from a live event that's supposed to be happening that weekend. I think we're going to maybe see Ethan Carter III show up, the former Derek Bateman, because he was supposedly pulled from an event. He was supposed to be attending Royal Rumble weekend, and there's been rumors of him showing up in WWE basically for the last 2 months. I think maybe Bobby Lashley will show up here. Who knows? Has Roman been confirmed? How has Roman not been? I'm actually looking at the list. Of names here, and Roman actually, according to Wikipedia, Roman hasn't been confirmed yet, which is weird because, I mean, we all know Roman's winning here. I would love to see Shinsuke Nakamura win the Rumble here, but I think he's going to probably earn the #1 contendership at, what's the next SmackDown pay-per-view? Maybe Nakamura will win his opportunity at Fastlane, or maybe Roman will win his opportunity at the Elimination Chamber. But honestly, this is what I'm going with it, just because it fits with the narrative. I think Roman is winning the Rumble. Maybe he and Nakamura are the final two, which I hope that's not the case, because as I mentioned before, they have to convince me. And while me personally seeing Nakamura drop to be eliminated by Roman last probably won't affect me, just because, I think there's still time to salvage Nakamura before Mania, and I don't think being eliminated in the Rumble will hurt him as much as, say, losing to Jinder Mahal twice. The second time being after Jinder doing some horribly racist promos against Nakamura. I'm still not over that. That was almost the last straw for me when it came to WWE. And I've put up with a lot. Basically, I don't watch it as much just because of that. Anyways, I think, like I said, I think Roman is winning here. There are going to be a lot of people that are pissed at that who want Nakamura to win it. If Nakamura wins the Rumble, fine. Awesome. Even better. But just basically my cynicism of understanding what's going on in Vince McMahon's head makes me think Roman is winning here, just because they seem so hell-bent on making Roman the guy that the fact that there is a right way to do this. The fact that this is the site of the last time Roman won the Royal Rumble, where it was so universally panned, well, not universally, I won't say universally panned, but so panned, and seen as such a dumb move by a lot of people, especially when you had Daniel Bryan announce he was in the Rumble. I don't think having Daniel Bryan not have been in that Rumble, not be in that Rumble, would have, I don't think it would have completely convinced people that Roman was, that would have had people completely accept Roman, but I think it would have definitely softened the blow. But basically, this is the site of the last Rumble he won, which was so panned, seen as such a stupid move by WWE. In the years since, I think a lot of people have warmed up a little more to Roman. I don't know, maybe it's me being naive. I know I'm not as cynical about him anymore, personally, even though I remember it was Great Balls of Fire. I made that joke about Roman committing attempted murder after losing the ambulance match because of his own stupidity. Again, was with Strowman and attempted murder angles. Yeah, I think I spent a good 5 minutes just trying to justify why I'm picking Roman. Just because I know that's going to get a lot of backlash from people. And I'm not even doing that cynically. I think, like, the top two picks for me were Roman and Nakamura. And honestly, I think Nakamura, while it would be better to have him win here, I think Nakamura is winning his championship opportunity at Fastlane again. So with that rambling and backtracking and trying to cover my own ass, because basically I know the reaction people are going to give for the fact that I picked Roman winning the Rumble is. What are your thoughts on the Rumble and TakeOver Philadelphia? What are your predictions for both shows? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys would like to follow me on social media, links are down below in the description. If you'd like to support the channel a little bit further, there is a coffee link in the description below. And as always, if you'd like to check out any of my past work, my Let's Plays, my stream archives, even my reviews, you can do so at peanutbutterdisaster.com. So, until next time, I'm KiraKennedy, and thank you for watching.
Peanut butter disaster.